What do we know, folks? We know that 2 drones flew into the presidential compound in Moscow while President Putin was there. One of those drones, we have video evidence, appeared to strike the main building, but Russian forces are out there saying that they neutralized, they deactivated both of those drones before they hit, but video is out there showing that either the drone actually struck the building or it exploded just before it hit the building. Either way, pieces and debris hit the building and caught it on fire. Now, I need you to understand that this is the equivalent of drones hitting the White House of the United States, okay, while the president is there. This is a huge, huge thing. Russia has on multiple occasions come out very clearly and has stated that if their president or if one of their senior leadership of their country is assassinated, and this is not in the context of what's happening in Eastern Europe, this is what they have said consistently over a long time, that they would respond with nukes. And nuclear weapons are now on the table. They are already out there saying to everyone that they are right to respond to this attack. And so the question is, in the next number of hours, the next several days, will there be a major escalation in Eastern Europe? Ukrainian President Zelensky has come out and has explicitly denied Ukrainian involvement with this. We haven't yet heard Latvia denying involvement in this, or the United States. Notably also, the Ukrainian president did not condemn the attack, simply stating that we don't have the resources to do this and we did not use resources to do this, suggesting that there were partisans who did this. Now, the Ukrainian government said this exact same thing about the attack on Belarus, the airborne radar aircraft that was parked on the runway there, and it was attacked by drones by, partisans. Of course, it gets leaked out later that actually that was regular Ukrainian forces that actually launched that attack with some direction by the U.S. government on that. So when it comes to drone attacks, they're not the most reliable. So what will this look like? I mean, this is all kind of falling out right now, but the fact that they hit the building that the Russian president was in, whoever these people may be, I think that most people are out there realizing very clearly exactly who did this, and that is the Ukrainian forces, and they are in a state of war, but up till now, political leadership has not been targeted by either side. This may be changing. Former president of Russia, Medvedev, has said this: it's time to launch a missile attack on Zelensky's residence. I'm sorry, that was MP Mikhail Sheramet. Medvedev actually said that, a little further up here, that have no other options but to eliminate Ukrainian President Zelensky and his clique. So we have some pretty inflammatory words. This should let you know, while we don't have official word from the Russian government on what will happen, other than that they have already said that they are right to respond. They have a right to respond. And also, we're hearing senior political leadership. These would be like congressmen shooting their mouth off and that kind of thing. It definitely gives you an idea of what they think will be popular in Russia. And this is very scary, because clearly they think that the majority of Russians are going to be infuriated by this, and that it's going to be politically advantageous to them to be saying these type of inflammatory things. With the denial by Ukrainian government of involvement in this, that means when or if a revenge or an attack is carried out on the country in Eastern Europe, then we may be seeing the United States having to take Zelensky's word on this and seeing it as an unprovoked attack. This is the kind of situation where these things can devolve into World War III very, very easily. If a nuclear strike is launched against Ukraine, the United States and Western allies have already said that there will be a severe response to that. What will the response be? How would the United States handle it if Cuba launched drones that hit the White House while our president is in there? Would there be a strong, swift response to Cuba? You bet there would be. You bet there would be. What did we do after 9/11? We invaded 2 countries, and that wasn't even a political residence, right? We invaded 2 separate countries based on that. One of them actually was sort of responsible. The other one clearly was not responsible, but that's what it was sold to the American people for. Now that Russia has been attacked at this level, how will they respond? Now, I'm not here to tell you which side's right, which side's wrong. I'm just walking you through what's going to happen next. Most assuredly, a very restrained response from Russia's perspective will be significant airstrikes on potentially civilian targets. Now, they've been attacking power plants and that kind of stuff, but, I mean, every country does that. And does that sound like a defense of that? Because the United States definitely took out all the power plants in Iraq, and we did the same thing to Serbia. We've done that kind of stuff significantly. Now, of course, we're the good guys. So anyway, but a limited, just more bombings of Eastern Europe there would be a very limited response. A more targeted response might be attacks on political buildings in Eastern Europe there, or even more targeted would be actually targeted assassination attempts on potentially someone like Zelensky or some of his cabinet members or something like that. That would probably be seen by the world as being disproportionate to the attacks, and that some debris rained down on the presidential compound. That would be that compared to actually competently attacking senior leadership of another country would be probably seen by NATO and others as disproportionate. I don't think that a nuclear strike would be on the table, but if they were looking for an excuse to do that, that could be on the table at this point. Now, some people are out there probably saying, well, maybe this was Russia attacking itself in a very incompetent way in order to make this look like. If that is the case, with the United States satellites aiming down, you would expect there to be transponder data, there flight tracking, where the United States could very clearly prove that this was not where the drone actually came from, where it was launched. If it was not launched from Ukrainian territory, then that would seriously seem to disprove that almost immediately. And if the United States was in possession of that type of data, which they would be, that would be something that would come out immediately. So it would make no sense to do that sort of thing unless they were able to kind of get into Ukrainian territory and launch that or something like that. But any way that you look at it, Russia looks very weak right now. The fact that 2 drones were able to almost take out their president is definitely cause for concern. and will definitely make a lot of people in Russia feel very vulnerable, which is probably not what Russia really wants them to feel like. But if Russia was looking for an excuse to escalate things dramatically, whether they're the ones who actually did this to themselves or whether this was done to them, they now have that opportunity on a golden platter to use worse weapons or to rally their population or whatever for a more substantive attack. But this does feel like a turning point. And I think that over the next number of days, we're going to see that this day was a bit more of a turning point than what it appeared immediately. There's news kind of cascading out, but we still don't have an actual response from the president of Russia. When we do, when Vladimir Putin responds, that's going to definitely make some pretty big waves, and I don't imagine it will be soft-spoken or conciliatory, but rather inflammatory. So what will we see in the coming days? I don't know exactly, but it's probably going to be a significant escalation over there, or it could be even larger in scope in some way, shape, or form. Will this go before the UN? I don't know. Will Russia go before the UN and demand Security Council meeting on this to present their evidence of what just happened, that type of thing? And where did those drones come from? What country manufactured them? Who supplied them? And the fact that so many Western countries are financially supporting and arming and giving information, targeting information to that country, what does that make those countries culpable? Because that was the rationale that the United States used to attack Afghanistan. That the Taliban government had facilitated, or even just by harboring the Al-Qaeda, that they were then guilty of that. So things to think about, folks. Get more stocked up, get more prepared, because things could be turning a corner here very quickly. We will see as these days unfold, though. Let us know in the comments what you think will happen next, or even just what you think has happened from what you understand. But hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully that this is not a significant turning point for the worse for the world. But I've seen enough of these things to say this is probably a big deal. This is probably not going to blow over overnight. This is probably going to be ramped up and used a lot to stir people up over in Russia. And because of that, they're probably going to get some support from other countries, some of the BRICS countries. All right, folks. If you found this video to be useful or helpful, please do hit that thumbs up button if you haven't already. Do that with all the content that you appreciate. If you want to check out another video, there's one right over here. I'll see you over there, or I'll see you later. Steve Poplar of the Poplar Report, out.